Hi guys, Shaquita Graham here, founder of atechcoweb.com and atechco.net. I am here with what I consider to be like a special report, and I say that because I am going to endeavor to really address something that everybody who is concerned with Black people in our advancement has been really focusing on, and that is strategies to end our oppression. And I just want to talk about this in depth really quickly if I can, and hopefully it will be helpful and hopefully it'll spark conversations. It's not something, a lot of this is not something that we haven't heard before, but again, it's great to rehash it and kind of bring it to light all in one place. So here I go. First, I want to start with this brother, Jay Morrison. He did a great synopsis of the systematic issues that we've been fighting for hundreds of years. I mean, first we have to understand the issues before we can come up with the problems. And with the latest rash of videotaped executions by race soldiers who are dressed in police uniforms and who are tarnishing what would otherwise be an honorable profession, our outlook in the Black community can be very bleak. And because we are fighting systems, it's also very kind of hard to grasp how to fight them. But with my profession being engineering, my job is to fix problems, to analyze systems and come up with solutions through development, through inventions, through innovations, or simply by creating efficiency. So if we begin to analyze these systems, we would see keys that, keys that will allow us to overcome the oppression that we're dealing with. And I believe with everything that I have, we can overcome it. And it doesn't take everybody, because so many of us get discouraged because we see the social engineering and the oppression affecting our brothers and sisters, and we feel like, how can they fight with us? But we don't need everybody. If there's just 40 million people, 40 million Black people or concerned people, which are going to be Black people, about our oppression, if we just had 10% of those people, 4 million, that actually want to do something about it, and another 4 million to just support, just share, just, participate in small ways, we can do this. So let me get to it. I'm going to show quite a few clips here, and I'm going to try to make it quick. They're very short. But first, let's look at the problem as shared by Mr. Jay Morrison, and it's actually at Your Black World channel. All right, Jay.
Audience, right? They're probably going crazy right now. This guy, said these things. The government hates Black people. I want everyone to look up things like the war on drugs, which is targeted Black people, mass incarceration, COINTELPRO. The FBI director, James Comey himself, and the New York head of police also said the origin of policing came from slave catching. We also can look at black codes, the vagrancy tactics, the bombing in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the bombing in Philly, the Wu family, all done by the U.S. government towards African people in America.
Okay, so he just laid out a lot of what we're dealing with as far as the oppression that we're fighting through all of the governmental acts that have been taken against us as Black people. I mean, he named quite a few of them. So these are systems. It's not just like one person that we're pointing to. COINTELPRO was something sanctioned by the government. The war on drugs and the placement of drugs in our community is something that was sanctioned by the government, namely the CIA. Some of the bombings that took place in Black communities, these were all done by systematic governmental processes. So we have to fight that with a system. We have to fight our own oppression with a system. And that leads me to our brother, Marcus Garvey. He said after he traveled the world, he said, where is the Black man's government? Where is his king and his kingdom? Where is his president, his country, his ambassador, his army, navy, his men of big affairs? He said, I could not find them, but then I declared that I would help make them. And I think that's what so many of us who care about the advancement of Black people, we're trying to essentially do. When he's saying a government, a kingdom, he's saying systems. These are all systems that are working in concert with one another to create the effects that of advancement and empowerment for Black people. So that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about looking at these systems that, number one, we're fighting against, or just to analyze to see how systems are set up, and to see systems that we can, or to look at ways that we can create systems for ourselves. So let me just start by looking at this. The United States Congressional Committee. There are a ton governments or organization. You know, government is a system or organization that is trying to accomplish a certain goal. They have committees that focus on these things. So, like they said, the Congressional Committee is a sub-organization that handles specific duties, all right? So these little legislatures, they monitor ongoing governmental operations, and this is the important part. It identifies issues suitable for legislative review, gathers and evaluates information. That is the thing, gathering and evaluating information, and recommends courses of action. You know, that is the thing that committees do. And so if you look here at the United States, some of the committees, they have committees on agriculture, committees on budget, education, energy, science and technology, small business, transportation. They have people who are dedicated to focusing on this. And when I work in technology, a lot of time we refer to it as working groups. So let me just make my picture a little bit bigger. We refer to it as working groups. So like Linux is like a huge working group. If anybody knows about Linux, or even right now, there's so many, even with Google, you can work in a group to develop applications for Google, or for so many different things. And what I noticed in technology, we'll all get together and handle one little problem and bring it all together to advance the whole. And I think that that is a strategy that can be used in the Black community to help us fight the systematic oppression that we've been dealing with. So let me continue. When we look here at these committees, foreign relations, energy and natural resources. Let me take a look at in the African Union, some of their committees or working groups: agriculture, rural development, water and environment, justice and legal affairs. They have health and population and drug control, youth, culture, and sports. These are committees that are dedicated to finding solutions and advancing these areas of people activity. And I believe that in the Black community, we can benefit from using this strategy, because we cannot individually fight a system. We have to work together to fight a system. So let me show you a little bit more of what I mean by that. Here is, right here, I'm going to show you a video about a self-sustaining community. This is just an example of people coming together to create a community that's self-sustaining and that benefits the whole. See, they're using aquaponics to grow food. You can produce 10 times the food with not less, 90% less water. You're using technology like solar energy. You're taking advantage of waste material to create power. So I'm going to stop that right there. But these technologies are now at our fingertips. And that's why, you know, I have a techcoweb.com and a techco.net, because to me, the basis of innovation and developing has to do with technology. But I mean, of course, that's not the only area. That's why, you know, you have committees on science and technology, but then you have committees on business, entrepreneurship, small businesses, on health, on youth. So, you know, we need all of that. And we see that in our ecosystem right now that just needs to continue to develop. Like Dr. Boyce Watkins has the Black Business School and Your Black Education. So he's a committee in a sense on developing businesses in the Black community and educating our children in the Black community, along with Dr. Umar. Then you have people like Jay Morrison. He's focusing on real estate in the Black community. Then you have people like Tariq Nasheed, who's focusing on the history of the Black community and the system, exposing the system of oppression that we've been dealing with. So we need all of these things working together. So let me show you another example of this. So this is a robot that can, you know, go through all of the operations necessary to farm just right in your backyard. And this is something that's at our fingertips. And even the technology that they're using to create something like this is at our fingertips right now. And I'm going to talk about that. And I kind of allude to that when I talk about technology on my platforms like a techcoweb.com. So it can detect weeds, it can kill weeds. It has an app that shows you it helps direct the robot as well as direct you on how to set up your garden. Manages the robot schedule. So, you know, we're pulling together a lot of different technology here to make something like this work. But, you know, if we have issues with our food supply, what a wonderful way to combat that systematic oppression, you know, to have that stuff available in our own yard. So that's really cool. And an example of this think tank working group type of mentality is what Dr. Claude Anderson has built with the Harvest Institute. But again, you know, if we just had 4 million of us, 10% of our so-called population, so they say, in America, putting together these organizations and working on these committees, and we had 4 million, another 10%, a total of 20%, the other 4 million just supporting, then I think we can make amazing gains. And I think we have to start to envision a way out of our oppression in order to do so. So I just wanted to recap with a couple of things, and I prepared some slides so I can be succinct in this. So again, we're talking about where is the Black man's systems? Where is the Black man's organizations to help him to advance and to focus on his needs? And I just want to say that all of this is at our fingertips. So like, for instance, when you look at technology has given us the opportunity to move in so many realms that we could never move in before. Technology is allowing us to have film and television at our fingertips. And I mean, for instance, films have been shot on an iPhone 6. That's an example. Mobile applications. That's something that you could create without being a programmer. That's something that you can create from the comfort of your home. You can, you know, get freelancers to work with you and so on and so forth. Wearables. You know, things like the smartwatch and all of these different wearables that are coming out, the technology is at our fingertips. You do not have to have a 4-year degree or a master's degree to create wearable technology. 3D printing, that's something that you could purchase and have at your house that allow you to manufacture goods. You know, that's a major part of making manufacturing more accessible to anybody. entrepreneurship and startups. I mentioned Dr. Boyce's Black Business School. Then you have other things out there, you know, my platform, atechoweb.com and atecho.net. Then you have other things like lynda.com or something like that. Then this will allow you to get high impact education that is not expensive. Commerce. Again, there's all kinds of ways to do business and sell things online through Etsy and all of these different online Shopify, online stores you can create. Globalization. Right now, I mean, a lot of times I'll have business meetings with people that are in another country through online platforms, something as simple as Google Hangouts. Networking. For us to put together these working groups, I mean, you could easily just throw up a working group on a Facebook group. You know, there's a lot of different ways to do that. And I talk about that at techoweb.com because I don't just talk about careers in technology or business startups in technology, but I talk about how to optimize your business, your existing business through technology. And I'm going to begin to go in depth even more about, because it's all technology to me, it's all innovation. So, and the last thing I want to share is I'm going to also go into analyzing systems of oppression, because I think that's something that we do not understand in the Black community, the strategies that are used against us, and that cripples us from fighting them. So in the future, what I'm going to be doing in the next upcoming weeks is I'm going to be analyzing these strategies of systematic oppression that we've seen before, so we can understand what we're seeing now and how to combat it. So I will be looking at my reference materials will be The Destruction of the European Jews. These are books. The Destruction of the European Jews. The Destruction of Black Civilization. The Rising Tide of Color Against White World Supremacy, The Passing of the Great Race. And these two have been written they've been written by white people. So this will shed a lot of light for us. And hold on one second. So I've said a lot, and there's a lot more to say, but I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you will join me in this journey of looking at ways that we can advance ourselves through analyzing and implementing new systems for Black empowerment and advancement. Thank you.